The dark web is a part of the deep web, often described as the internet under the internet. It's real, it exists, and I'm sure many of you guys have heard strange stories from it and governments attempting to even shut down certain sites. These stories are creepypastas about the dark web, and that doesn't mean that they're necessarily real, but it also doesn't mean they're not real. It's up to you guys to decide. Make sure you also check out our scariest creepypastas ever video up there if you haven't. If you can get through this video, that's definitely the next one you should watch. My name is Burke and this is the top 10 dark web creepypastas. Alright guys, as these are very long creepypasta stories, this is more of a summary. I'm going to give you guys a little intro into each one. We are going to include the links to every single story in the description box, so if you like the sound of it based off what I say, go and check out the full story using the links down below. Starting off at number 10 now, we have The Visiting. This one was written by Tales from the Abyss in 2016. In its short history, it's turned heads as a terrifying story about the dark web. It revolves around an 18-year-old guy and girl. She convinces him that they should check out the dark web, just for fun. While browsing around, they find a movie called The Visiting. They were drawn in by the display picture, a simple white background with the title written in black Arial font. When he wasn't looking, the girl actually ordered the movie to be delivered to her house. He was pretty mad about that. He didn't want anything from the dark web coming to her home or any connection that they had even been there at all. 3 days later, they were watching a horror movie at her house when they heard an aggressive knock at the door. They opened it to find a tall, stocky man with a ski mask and dark clothes was stood outside, and he was holding a hammer. He was about to slam the door and call the police when he heard his girlfriend scream from the back of the house. When he ran there, she was pointing in the garden. An identical man was at the window holding a baseball bat. The story only gets more horrifying from there, and is a reminder that you should only order a visitor if you really want one. Next up at number 9 now, we have The Journey to the Dark Web. This story from 2015 is written from the perspective of a computer technician. One day he gets a call out to a business who are complaining that their internet is acting up. When he arrives, he sets about trying to fix their connection. It's something he's done a million times before, and in his boredom he noticed a strange network pop up on his computer. He joined it out of curiosity and began poking around to try and find where it came from. Then his PC froze up for a few seconds. How strange, it never did that. After messing around a little bit more, it kept happening. He decided he had had enough, so he tried to disconnect, but the network hadn't finished with him just yet. Just as he was about to hit the power button on his laptop to perform a hard reset, his browser opened again. This time a little chat box opened. It simply said, "Hello." He stared at the screen for a few seconds, not quite sure what to do. A journey then began which he could never forget, one that blurred the lines between human, AI, and a whole new kind of demon. Moving on to number 8 now, we have The Connection. In September 2018, this story was posted to a creepypasta website titled "I Found a Laptop Connected to the Deep Web." From there, you're just hooked really. The main character finds a bag that someone must have left in his local cafe. He thought about giving it back, handing it in to the staff, but a moment of dishonesty came over him and he decided to take the bag home. It was a decision he would live to regret. When he gets home, he isn't sure what to expect and is shocked to find a laptop in mint condition inside. There was even a charger and a wireless mouse. He also found a phone that had no text and only one recent call to an out-of-state number. The more he examined the phone and the laptop, the creepier things got. He found pictures of a local barbershop, a path in the woods, a garage, and even the cafe where he found the laptop. Soon he noticed that a spate of recent murders were all tied to these locations, all except the cafe. And then he begins to make a horrible realization. Coming in at number 7 now, we have The Freak Show. This one was told by Reddit user Jaden Sutton. He says he grew up loving technology and by university he considered himself a hacker. Eventually he got bored of this and he wanted a new thrill. His friend told him about the dark web, and the very same day he was scrolling through some pages, suddenly he got a pop-up box. A message in red text read, "If you don't know what's next, you're probably in the wrong place." There were 2 buttons, continue and leave. He clicked continue. He said that was the biggest mistake of his life. A black screen appeared with a blood red title at the top of the screen. It simply read The Freak Show. In the middle of the screen there was a chat box. A message popped up from someone titled admin. It said, hello. The conversation that followed is one that disturbed him for life, and is said to have a similar effect on many people that read it. Moving on to number 6, we have Few Are Many. This is a great one about some kids who get curious about the dark web and how it's not separate from their own lives, it's very much intertwined with it. After installing a browser to visit the dark web, the main character goes to a video site, not unlike a dark web version of YouTube. There was soon one that caught their eye. It was a video from their local burger joint called Dark Point Burgers. They end up seeing people they know, places they know, strange twisted images that scare them into turning off the computer, but it won't. Then they see a live video feed from the room they are in. Then a voice speaks and their life changes forever. Next up at number 5 now we have Dark Afternoon Tape. Now this story revolves around the storyteller's friend finding a dark website that showcases banned content from the regular web. Gruesome crime scene photos and that sort of stuff. The friend finds an audio clip and starts listening with headphones. The more he listens, the more distressed he looks. Suddenly he stands up, he takes off the headphones and throws them on the desk. He was shaking and he simply said, "That audio file." So now the storyteller wanted to hear it for himself. Before he could get there though, the friend deleted the sound file and shut down the computer. He soon left, but the storyteller remembered something. The audio file had come with a story, a real story in a text file, a story that was scarier than whatever his friend had heard on that audio file. What follows next is the text from the story. It's titled "The Dark Afternoon Incident, Real or Hoax." Here's the first paragraph for you guys, but you'll have to find the rest for yourself. As a journalist, I've investigated everything from political corruption to celebrity scandals to international cybercrime, but never have I come across something so bizarre and deeply disturbing as a simple audio tape. Moving on to number 4 now, we have Taking Care. This one was posted to Reddit by Packathon John. He tells a story of how he was always fascinated by the deep web. One day at college, his friend set everything up for him to use it. After a few weeks, he felt like a pro. He started to get a little bit cocky. He turned off the censored mode and began to go deeper. Most of the pages led to just dead web pages, but eventually he stumbled across a site called All the Gore. It was a big chat room with many different topics. Even though he had a pretty strong stomach from some of the horrific stuff he'd seen on the normal internet, this was something else. After a little while, he realized just how sick this site really was. The people in the chat rooms were actual killers, bragging about some of the things that they had done. He told them they were sick and he threatened to call the police on them. They told him he would regret it if he did. He reached for the phone to make the call. There was a new message. He opened it and it said, "Call the police and you're dead." Now that's a line that some creepypastas would be happy to end on, but that story only starts there. Moving on to number 3 now guys, we have Welcome to Iris. This is a story about a guy called Ben who lost his laptop at a cafe. Hopefully not the same cafe that I mentioned in an earlier story. He returned and asked the owner if they had a lost and found, and within 3 seconds he had the laptop back in his possession. The owner said an old guy had returned it after finding it under the chair where Ben usually sat. Now Ben didn't think much of it and was just happy to get his laptop back. When he booted it up at home though, he was surprised to find that all the icons on his desktop had been wiped clear, all except one in the very center. It was called Tor, T-O-R. Some of you guys may recognize that as an access program for the deep web. He found himself in a chat room and after a while he decided to close the screen and just delete the browser. Then a message appeared in the chat room. It said 495-24953 wants to chat. Ben dismissed it as just a bot. Then it said, "Hello Ben." Chills crawled down his spine at the sight of his own name. Okay, just a clever bot, he thought. He hovered over the X again when another message came through. This time it was a jumbled code. When he finally decoded it, it was a letter addressed to him, inviting him to join a group called Iris. You guys should go and find a story for yourselves to see his struggles with Iris and the horror of having to join a group that you don't want to because they know your name and they know where you live. Next up at number 2 now, we have Why I Left the Deep Web. This is a creepypasta posted to the No Sleep subreddit by Tas Diablo. Now I say creepypasta, but that's not what the disclaimer says at the top of the story. It reads, "Disclaimer, this is not a ghost story or creepypasta that most of you are here to read. Please do not read this if you are easily disturbed." The story is told by a 22-year-old postgraduate who said that he started exploring the dark web at high school. He had 3 aliases on it. He ordered drugs and got a drug dealer to sell them in real life. He was mastering the dark web. Then in his second year, the government began began shutting down sites like the Silk Road and Mad Onion, he went deeper though. After 10 years, he thought he had seen everything there was to see. Then, one day, he and his friend were in a chat room when people mentioned a site that no one had managed to get past its encryption except for one person. They shared what they saw in that chat room, and the storyteller describes it as this. This site is the most cancerous and revolting section from the darkest part of the dark web. It is a scar that I bear to this day, and it is one that I will never ever forget. I'll warn readers again, this is not for the faint-hearted, and something that even the most emotionally numb people will not be able to deal with. The story continues from there, and it only gets darker. And finally, number 1 now, we have The Contract. This is a creepypasta by Shannon Higdon about a guy called Martin Croker who worked for a newspaper. Now his boss, Teddy Wilson, wanted him to do a piece all about the dark web. He gets paired up with his colleague Susan. The pair are guided on their journey with a dark web regular called Hector. He tells them about The Contract, a shady agreement there in which people give their lives over to a dark organization when they become truly desperate in life. It's also known as the Devil's Contract, or quite simply, the final contract. Even on the dark web, its existence is more like an urban legend. The victims sign away their lives in this digital contract, and at that very moment, their life no longer belongs to them. In the character's quest for the story of the century, they try to discover the roots of this contract, what it contains, and just how powerful the people are behind it. Well, here we are at the end of the video, which means most of you are either going to do one of two things. Either you will want to go and look at pictures of kittens now and forget all about the dark web, or you may go and seek out the stories and read more. Let me know which one you are. For now, we're going to look at some comments. Kafeshua said, anyone here from 1955? That was actually the most upvoted comment on that video. You guys are strange. I like it. A lot of people replied to that saying that yes, they were in fact from 1955. You know what is strange though? I was thinking, one day people on the internet will find comments saying anyone here from 2018, and they'll think that is such an ancient year, a time when their grandparents were young. Maybe you guys are those grandparents. I don't know where this trail of thought is going. Kerry Ann said, another top selection of urban legends. I can't get enough of all these selections. You do see some variations. Like we all have our boogeymen with a different name, same premise. That's a very good point. After doing all these urban legends videos, I have begun to notice certain patterns and characters appearing around the world, but I think it's their slight variations that make urban legends videos so good, and it lets us see what stories we all have in common. Alright guys, that's all for now. Thanks as always for watching. My name is Danny Burke, and I'll see you all in the next video.